How about now? I feel like it should be working right now. I can see the audio moving now on the tab. How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Just tell me the color I'm saying. Blue. What color am I saying? Just type it in if you can hear me. I'm trying to see if my headset works. You can't hear me? Oh, there we go. Beautiful. We said blue. Okay, thank you so much. All right, guys, let's go over this. Sorry about that. First time going on live. All right, how about now? Can you hear me now? You know what it is? I think it's when I put my headphones in, it connects to my phone. I think that's what's happening. How about now? Oh, awesome. Okay, good. Is it clear? It's good enough? Because right now I got the fan underneath the laptop, just making sure it's working out well. As you can see, first time going live here. But thank you guys for tuning in. Let's go over Uber. Awesome, good. I'm glad you can hear me. So me and Joshua were going over these levels last night, but I just want to hit this just for anybody that didn't see the previous video that we did. Let's just go over it quickly. Anytime that you're going to chart, you need to go over the 5-year. You have to look at the max chart on anything. All right, so I always go to the max, and you want to point out. I was about to say you must be hot with that fan. No, it's really for the laptop. It's to keep the laptop cool. So what we're doing here is you want to chart out the 5-year. And the reason why you do this is you want to look at specific points that actually show you that there was, support. So you can see, just using this, we're going to change this color so it's not all red. But using this blue color, you can see that right on this touch point here, the touch point right here, right around here, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it just has to blend in where you can start to see that you are starting to get support. So anytime you start to draw support levels, you need to make sure that you are getting touch lines, like right here, this big wick right here as well right here. So now we can start to build a foundation. That's just for the 5-year to get an overall look on how the stock is actually trending. It doesn't have to be perfect, but as you can see, Uber has been trending up throughout this whole time. Pullbacks are okay, and the reason we like the pullbacks is we want to be able to see where are we going to start to consolidate and where are we going to actually find areas of support. So Uber a few years ago, if you just looked at this chart just from here, you could see it had that high of 64. So looking over here, it had that chart, that high of 64, pulled all the way back, which was pretty much more than a 50% pullback from 64 all the way down to about 21, which is a 65% pullback. And that would scare a lot of people. But now you know the next time that Uber gets around here, and this was in around 2021, it reaches $60 a level, you know that this area is going to be resistance. You can see just in this area right here, if it ever approaches this again, you are going to get resistance. So that's why I drew this all the way out here. And notice you have this consolidation forming right in this area. So it started to, let me see, oh, I see it, 65, yeah. So it started to break out and then pulled back to this level from 57 to 63. Now remember, when you look at this, it looks very choppy. It's never going to be perfect where you're going to automatically just pick out, okay, the high is 64. Once it hits 64, it's going to have resistance there. It's not going to be able to hold. You'll notice the next time it approached this area, it blasted through 64. It blasted right through. It went up to about 63, started pulling back to about 57. So you just have to use these large time frames just as an area to start building your support. We're reviewing this in the WAP last night, which was really great, just with Joshua going through the Uber levels. And look at 64, how it forms more levels right here. You can see it in this area. So if you're going to play Uber, you not only have to pay attention to the actual sound, like the actual like levels that are breaking through, but you have to pay attention to the news. What's the current news with the stock that's actually happening? But when you're just doing strict chart analysis, it can give you a good idea of where you're trying to end up buying and selling, especially for day trading. So now we just broke through that. We have these levels showing. Now we're going to start to move in. And now I'm looking at the 6 month. And you'll start to see that the levels that you created from the far out, like the far out view of 5 years from now, you can see we have these touch lines. And then you can see as we move in the 1 year, you'll start to see them, forming here as well. And then you can get a more defined analysis of where these stocks have actually hit. How much did they really spread? Did it go from 59 up to 62, looking at this range right here? And that's how I start to lay out the levels. So just looking at this, I'm looking at Uber in the short term. And I know we reviewed a member's portfolio that was holding almost 10% of Uber, which to me is a little risky, but you know what? He's just starting out, he's creating his portfolio, and you have to have some individual stocks that you're interested in, because if you're just going to buy the S&P 500, it gets pretty boring. So I believe it is good to have, an individual stock in mind to know what you're going to trade, and it helps you get more engaged with the market. So buying S&P 500, buying FSPGX like I do in my YouTube portfolio, that's all great. But if you want skin in the game, owning individual stocks really is the way to go. And just maintaining the allocation less than 5 to 7% of your overall portfolio, even if you're wrong, you won't have big hits like this. Like, let me just show you. This was in his portfolio. And it just shows you that if you have a high allocation to an individual stock, this is a one-day move. So look at this, $23. He's gonna think I'm ragging on him, but I'm not. But $23, it's good for everybody to know. But look at this, $23 all the way down, 42% in less than 2 days. You have a 1 to 2 to 3% allocation to your risky stocks, all good. It's not gonna crush your portfolio. All right, let's see here. So let's look at SoFi. Let's go to SoFi now. Oh, wow. See, this is a problem because I used to own SoFi, same as PLTR that I was telling you guys. I used to own this at $7. So it kills me. You buy these stocks, and I was buying basically in 2022 around this range, and then I sold. It took a little bit of a gain, but let's just start looking at it now. So let's go to the 5-year. As you can see, this stock opened up at $10 over here, blasted all the way up to $28, pulled all the way back. And now let's start to see if we can get some levels. Let's start marking out some levels. And what do you guys see right here? This is kind of obvious already. Let's just draw this rectangle out. Let me just switch that. We're not going to use Pitchfork. You can see right here in this area, we did have areas of consolidation. And look where it's lining up right in this range too. So we're going to draw this out right here. And this is not something that is going to be like holding long-term advice. But really quickly, look at the 6 month. You have continuously bounced off of these levels. And these levels are not made up. I mean, this takes 5 seconds. You go to the 5-year, you can see the support landing right here from about $15 to about $13. It's bounced here, and then when it broke this level, it really went off a cliff. But then look, it broke through here, and now we had that consolidation. And now I want to zoom into this picture to get a better idea, because you had a massive green candle coming up all the way from $13 up to $16. And let's go right to, what does this say? It's back. Are you looking at an entry? He's looking at an entry. Let's get an entry. $11, he's saying, is the entry point. Let's see if we can match what he's saying. So $11, let's go on the 1-year chart because I can't really see it. Where are you getting $11 from is what I want to see. Oh, now I see what you're saying. So here we go. So he is using, Joshua's using previous resistance points, which is very smart. Look at this. So these two spots were resistance points. You could see around 1050 it looks like. Let's zoom in a little bit. We got from 10 to about 1045, and you have that high of 11.7. So we're just going to round it to a nice 1050 to 11. And now let's draw it right to here. And you know what I like about this? You can see this consolidation form right here. I'm going to zoom in so it's clear for everybody. So you broke through that 11 phase, and then you started pulling back, and then you had these nice thin wicks coming in, and then it held this 1050 level, and then started rising back up into our resistance zone that we drew up here. So yes, that could be it, but I think we're going to need some major news if we're going to be pulling back. I mean, just think of SoFi right here at $16. You pull back even to like $14 is like a 13 to 14% pullback. If you were to get what you want, $16 all the way down to 11, that's going to be a 35% pullback. You're going to need something fundamentally wrong with this. So if you're looking just to trade this, scalp trade, what I'm looking for realistically is I want to play the continuous bullish momentum, and it's clearly shown that 18.42 is the resistance. But can we break above this level? If you're going to play momentum and you're going to just buy the dip blindly as if, hey, I'm waiting for $11 like he's saying, what I would like to do is I would want to see this level right here. If I'm going to go long on SoFi, I want to see 16.5 break. Look, you have a touch here, and then the way you can confirm it is you had the breakthrough through 16.5, and then look, it goes right back to 16.5, and it rejected right at this point right here, and then you started selling off. So what does this show you? This is lower lows happening, and then you have this nice bullish momentum back into this consolidation phase. And you just have to be very careful right there. Let's just see if we can, I know there's a way that you can draw it. Let me see here. Would you buy at 14 about 5 shares, wait for a lower dip? As long as you like the fundamentals. See, now you're talking long-term investing. I'll give you the short-term move, and then we'll talk about the long-term. Short-term, if I'm trading SoFi, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for SoFi to break through this level. Let's break through 16.5. And I know you're waiting for the dip, but just hear me out on this. You break through 16.5. This is going to consolidate for a little bit, maybe a day or two, and you're going to gain this consolidation, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy at this 16.5 to $16. So you have a 50-cent stop because you're buying this consolidation right here. And then you're looking for this hold above for a move back to 18.42. That is the move that if I'm going to trade SoFi, I'm not buying a long position, because if you look, it's trading within this zone. This is $14 to $16, $14 to $16. If you were going to try to play the bullish momentum, this is what you do. You wait for 16.5 to break. You have your stop 50 cents, and you're making a move to 18. Think about the ROI that I'm telling you that I'm trying to make here. 16.5 is your entry point if it breaks above. You're cutting your loss at 3%, but your move back up to $18 is 10%. So 3% for 10%, I'm okay with that. If you want to be like Joshua was saying and you want to buy this at $14, and it's not a terrible play, but you just need a pullback. So we got to wait for a pullback to like 14.7, 14.5. You're at a 10 to 12% pullback. Now, where is your stop? The stop is going to be very simple right here. If you're going to buy at $14, let's draw a horizontal line. You need to have your stop loss below right here. And the reason I'm saying this is because this is the final line in the sand before we make another low. Look right here and here. And you don't want to buy at 14 and be selling at 13. You're taking a whole point loss on this. You can see that if you buy at 14, it might start potentially selling off. And then instead of having this move where you were able to, buy at 16.5 and go higher, now you sell off all the way from 16 all the way down to, let's say, 13, 14, 15% pullback. What happened is you pull back like this, you pull through. Let me just go through. And then what could happen is it retests this $14 range, and then it fails from here and rejects. So I do like the opportunity to be buying at 14, but you just need to know the risk that you're playing, that if this level does not hold 14 to 13.6, you are going to continuously head for more downplay. So if you're going to add long, that's okay, but I wouldn't do that. Let it play out. Let's see if it goes, has the bullish momentum, breaks way above 16, maybe retest $17 where you have this rejection up here, pulls all the way back into the consolidation zone, proves itself, and then what it does is it blasts up. Sorry about that. Then it blasts all the way up. If it pulls back and you want to buy this 14 at this demand zone, that's completely fine, 14.5. Keep your stop loss near that 13.6 because if it breaks through, it's going to retest and then start failing. That's how I look at it. You have to remember that this stock 1 year ago, and it's not even that far. It's February 2025. Think about this. In October, this is 4 months ago, 5 months ago. It's not even a year ago. It was $6, $8. So you could be buying at $14 for your long-term hold. And then you get this move down here, 40, 50%. And then you're calling up Trading Simplified going, what the heck? I'm down 50% on my move. That's just something that I definitely just want to at least bring up to you so you have an idea. What other stocks you want to review? Let me give you a great example. This is a clear break. This is a clear trend that hit support and is now blasting up. We'll do LMT next. I just want to show you this for an example because this is just a great way to really look at a long-term chart just for a learning experience and see where could you buy the dip. And Tesla was a fantastic, I missed this, but after looking at it in hindsight, it was clear as day that there was support in this region. When you look at it just on the 1 year chart, look where Tesla bounced. It bounced right in this consolidation right here. It's not going to be perfect, but from 323 to 330 was a clear add zone because you had this monstrous pullback from 488 all the way down to about 323. It's a 33% pullback. That's only a 2 month. You can see the date on the bottom. It was only about 2 months. It pulled back 33%. But the reason I like it so much is when you look at the 6 month chart, it's just clear as day. You want to use support levels to show, okay, I'm going to start dollar cost averaging into this. I'm going to pyramid into the position. 330 was really your first entry because you could see where the consolidation was. Yes, it did come down here to 306. That's where I thought Tesla was going to go. And it went down to 315. So me being a little greedy, not waiting, not just getting in at 315. Maybe if I was going to invest $100, you jump in. But that would have been an opportunity for you to get in. So just something to think about, just to learn. You had this consolidation here, but it clearly showed that this was a support level right here. And then now you zoom out and you can see right here, this is where your support level landed. So definitely interesting when you're looking for deep pullbacks like this. You don't just blindly buy these dips because then what happens is it just sells off on you. So you have to wait for area support. And if you were to buy around 330, 315, at least you knew if this level broke, it was going to keep going down to 276. So that was definitely a good buy, whoever bought that up there. Let's go to LMT now. Let's go to LMT. This is a stock that I'm probably going to buy for the YouTube portfolio. And just check out the WAP. That's where we always show the YouTube portfolio buys and sells. This, to me, this just seems almost like a no-brainer. I mean, you're looking at the 5 year chart, and you have this clear ascending right here, which did break, which is kind of interesting because it did break, but it's testing these levels. What I'm trying to be patient for here now, I would LMT now buy a $100 entry. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, if you're going to start entering, this is how I would do it. Let's say you had $100, right? And you're just buying with $100. I'm looking at this level right here. You have 384, which would be a dream. Around 384 to 400 is where I want to start getting in on this position. When you zoom out on the chart right here, you can see we've had this pattern for years. I mean, this is 2018 we're talking here. It's been just trending like this. Now it's finally pulling back. There's all the news with the, cutting the government funding, and I think that's affecting them with, the purchases that they've been making for LMT. 615 all the way down to 423 is a 30% pullback. This is not a small cap stock. I mean, this is a monstrous move. The first thing I want to recognize is look at our volume on the red candles. So when I look at a sell-off, I want to look at how big are these red candles. Notice how they were starting to get bigger as the sell-off came from 615, started selling off, got bigger. I'm going to zoom in over here so you can see it right around here. The red candle started, and now look at the selling pressure. The selling pressure is a little bit less over here. In February, it's a little bit less. So we're going to see, is it going to start to downtrend and we actually have buyers starting to come in? I think we do have buyers coming in because they're looking at this stock, multi-billion, that pullback from 615 to 423, 33% pullback. And now it's hitting a clear area of support here, which is right around 387 to 400. And with all stocks, psychological levels, the 100 levels, like the 400 level, is going to start getting buyers. So what I'm going to do is definitely for the YouTube portfolio, I'm going to buy long, but I'm also going to buy in the short term where I try to day trade this thing. If I can get a pullback down to about 410 and lower, because I am anticipating near 400 is going to get a bounce, and I'm going to be able to scalp this. So looking at this, if I'm going to start entering at maybe 410, you start taking your first position, $100. You know, maybe you throw in $20, 20% out of that 100 in at 410. Then if it goes down to 405, put in another 25%. If it goes down to 400, then put the rest of your 50% in. You're going by the levels, so there's no emotions behind it. You're looking where is the area of support. There was resistance right here. It started, you know, consolidating here, bounced here. Yes, is it a guessing game for now? Yes, we have to see how it plays out. But I'm thinking potentially maybe we can get that move down to 400, start consolidating, and then we get that push back up, which I would love to have this in the YouTube portfolio. And we get this move back up to like 530 for a 30% move from that 400 to 420 level. That would be awesome. Let's see here. Average target 552. Oh yeah, those are the estimates with LMT, that 552 and the 497. Let me see here. All right, so let's take a look. That's LMT. That's where I'm looking for the YouTube portfolio. I want to see if we can get that bounce around this level and push back up. That's what I want to see. Now, obviously, it's not going to be a straight line like this. That'd be amazing. But anyways, let's go into another stock. What else do you guys want to see? We could do anything. I mean, I've been watching Intel. You guys saw my last video on that. I made almost $6,000 on that trade. I was posting this all over my Twitter, looking at that. $21, blasted up above 25. Now we had this major rejection at $25. And when you look, it's not so difficult to see. I mean, you always have to let it play out. If you're thinking about buying and selling, go to the long-term chart, look where you're having resistance. You had clear resistance points all in these touches around 25.30. And what do you expect? 25.30, massive red candle rejection right here, sold off. If I'm going to trade Intel, what I'm doing is I am waiting for a further pullback. I could be wrong here, but what I think is going to happen here, we're going to get some consolidation from $24 to $23 consolidation, and then a push lower down to the 22 range, which you can see used to be resistance. You can see it all around here, 22 to 22.2, support, 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 support. And then it broke, and it was resistance right here after this level right here broke. And that's what I'm waiting for. If I'm going to go into Intel, 22 to 22.5 is where I'm looking. All right. Oof. I love it. I love it. I love when you guys comment. That's awesome. All right. So PLTR. Let's go into PLTR. Full disclosure, guys in my WAP, I told them I had this at $6. There's a few guys that I knew from back in the day that were trading, and they were buying PLTR at $6, and they had massive shares. I'm talking like 5,000 to 10,000 shares. So I'm wondering if they're still holding this position. Hopefully they find this channel and they let me know, because they were holding back in 2023. And these guys were PLTR star boys, fanboys. And if they're still holding, congrats to them. I mean, look at that gain. That's insane. That's like a 1,200 to 1,300% gain. Just incredible. I love seeing that. I hope it worked out for them. That's just awesome. Makes me happy to see people make money. So now let's look at this. PLTR, I marked off these levels for us. You had this nice push up. PLTR, let's just do one thing real quick. You go on the 5-year, is there any resistance? There's no ceiling. Technically, this can keep going up. It can keep getting pushed. But if you're going to try to scalp this, you have to be very careful. Please be very careful. If you're going to be buying these highs, at least follow this as your stop loss. I think your stop loss should at least be at the $100 level. The reason I say that is because you had this bullish momentum. We have nothing else to look for. There's nothing to the left. Only $65. So if you're looking here, I would use at least $100 as your stop loss. So if you're going to be buying these highs at 120 and you're going to cut a loss, I would at least cut it at 15-20%, which is a huge loss at the end of the day. You can cut it sooner, but $100 should be your line in the sand to say, okay, the momentum has ended. If it pulls back, I'm going to stop. All right, so that's just something to just please keep in mind, okay? If you're going to trade the bullish momentum here, what you should do is if it breaks this 120 level, there's no ceiling, right? So what you're going to do is your stop loss is, if you're day trading it, your stop loss is always going to be high of day, and then just trade that momentum. If it breaks above 120 next week and then starts pulling back to 120s, you can test out that area. So what I try to do is if I'm going to buy higher, just to make this clear, if I'm going to buy higher here at 120 and it starts blasting up to 125, I'm going to try to wait for that pullback to 120 where it was starting to have resistance. So 118, 119, blast up to 125. If it does pull back, start to play that consolidation, and then you know to cut your loss if it starts selling off more. Sell-offs are good right now for PLTR. You want it to sell off. That's okay. If it does sell off, at least you're going to be able to buy at a cheaper price. For me, I'm staying away from PLTR. You just heard my story, having it at $6. I sold around 30. That was not as good as them. These guys are still holding at 120. Incredible. Congrats to them. But if you get this pullback into this demand zone, now we're talking. Now you got the 104 to 105 level. That's a safer entry because where is PLTR trading within right now? PLTR is trading within this zone. This is the area that I am watching, and I want to see, is it going to start consolidating from 102 to 119 and just trade within this zone? If it starts to break higher highs, we know what to do. We're going to use these former highs of 118 to 119 as our stop loss. We'll try to re-enter. It breaks that level, it retests it, and then it starts moving back forward. That's what we're going to look for. If it starts to pull back, what I'm going to do is I would just wait for about 103 to 104. It's a 10-11% pullback, and now you have a defined stop. You can trade with $100 below as your stop loss, so at least you have a plan, and you're not just buying, and then let's say some terrible news happens, and you get this pullback all the way back down to 78, then you're down 30-40%. That's how I look at PLTR. I'm not buying this long term. I'm just going to give you the short term of what I'm going to trade it as. Let's see what else you guys got around here. SMCI. Let's check out SMCI. This stock is incredible. I mean, it's incredible, this stock. Just look at the 5-year chart on this. It's starting to, oh wow, look at that. It's actually forming a nice support here. So let's just draw out the levels real quick. You had this monster move, 24 up to 122. I just want to see what that pullback was because that was an insane pullback. I made a video on this in the past, and I don't remember where it was. I think it was like $20. So it pulled back 80% down to $19, $20. Okay. So we have a clear resistance point right here. I mean, this is kind of obvious. Look at this right here. We need to see where is it going to go from here. Is it going to break through here? The other area that I'm seeing right now is looking right around here. We're going to start to have this consolidation right here. And we're just pointing that out from the obvious levels, looking from the left, moving to the right. As usual, it's good to practice your charting just to make sure that it starts to line up, even if you're not trading it, so you can see that it was consolidating from this 23 up to this 33 range, blasted up, went to the moon from there. Now it started pulling back. What's actually more important now is looking at this short-term trend. Let's get rid of this. And this is the zone that we are trading in. So $17 around to about, let's see, $50. Now, any stock you trade, $50 is like the magical, it's like the whole dollar, half dollar, theory. If you can break above $50, which you can clearly see right here, I'm just gonna get rid of this and I'm gonna make this just a thin horizontal line so it doesn't block our screen. But if you can break above $50, that would be an area that I would be interested in going long on them because you had this nice pull up from 26 up to $42. But you have to prove, like when I'm day trading stocks, news is obviously important and knowing that, but I'm not holding SMCI as a long-term trade. I'm looking at it, can I make money now? Can I make money in the short term following the stop loss, which would be very easy to follow as long as you have a defined stop. The reason I like $50, it's the whole dollar, half dollar level right there. And you can see you have consolidation right in this zone, which is right around here. And then that was the support that showed. But the reason I like it even more is because I'm getting more information showing that this is resistance right here, $48 to $50, showing more resistance. So now we're going to see how is it going to react at this level as it's coming on the 3-month chart. Look where it's approaching, 49.86 right over here. Be very careful into this zone. Is it going to break above this 48.96? Let's just call it $50 to make it easy. And is it going to consolidate and hold $50 and push up? That's how I would look at SMCI if I was going to be playing this stock. It's a clear resistance zone right here. And you need to follow a stop loss in this stock because of all that news that was going on with them not reporting, you know, all their documents. So I forgot what it was, the 10K or whatever it was. If that goes out true and it's not accurate, this could easily pull back like 30-40% in one day. So just be very careful moving forward. Yeah, PLTR is definitely haunts me a little bit, but it's okay. It's okay. We made money. You can see the trading P&L of 2024. We made $80,000. We're okay with it. 2025. It's only been 6 weeks. We're up $12,000. It's okay so far, and the YouTube portfolio is growing, so that's what matters. All good. Here's another stock that I'll do my best to break this down, but I mean, this is self-explanatory. I mean, Costco only goes up. I mean, look at this. Look at this stock. It's unbelievable. So it's incredible. I mean, it hasn't even really had many downturns. 287 all the way up to 585, down to 426. This is one of the most well-run companies. They pay their employees well. They don't have any really hiccups in the news. They're just excellent. I mean, look at this. So it's pulling up 940. I'm not buying these highs. I'm wondering if this is a Berkshire Hathaway stock where it's just not ever going to, split. Because I think what Costco needs to get retail in this, besides the obvious pullback to this trend line, which is a 7-8% down to about 980 to 1,000, and then trying to get, if you're going to buy long on this, I would recommend that. I would assume that Costco would be a great long-term position. The companies just run really well. Their financials are great. They're not losing money. They make money every single quarter. They beat EPS. Their revenue is excellent. If I'm going to play Costco, I'm looking for just a pullback to these trends. If you want to be less ambitious as me and have to set an alert and just wait for 1,000, you can cut this in half and then you can start buying in the middle, which I personally will not do. I'm very picky with Costco, and that's why I don't own any shares, and that's why I'm not making any money with them. So my advice might not be that good for you, but you could start buying in this channel as well. Let's look at TQQ. So Dominic K, when you're looking at TQQ, this is something that you need to focus on. You need to look at QQQ. This is something that I'll tell you guys, when I was buying, I was looking at, I was trading TQQ, but I wasn't actually focusing on QQQ, which is the triple leverage version right here, which is TQQQ. So if you're gonna trade triple Qs, you need to be focusing on QQQ, all right? So before I even look at TQQ, even though it's the same chart, I focus on QQQ the entire time, all right? This is clearly at all-time highs. I mean, look at this. The NASDAQ is to the moon, and it's all the way up. Am I gonna buy QQQ right now, or TQQQ at 538? And what I want you to understand, which I'm sure you do, but just for the viewers that are watching, because I don't know who's new, so I like to try to protect newer investors. Let's just say you bought the triple Qs, which is $89 right now. QQQ trades at 538. For every 1% that you lose in QQQ, that would be a 3% loss in TQQQ. So look at that pullback. Just a 1% pullback for QQQ back to 533. That would be a 3% loss. So let's just see, looking at this, the way I would trade the NASDAQ, which is the top 100 companies, I would look for the middle of the trend, and then I would start buying shares in the middle of the trend. Now, I go long in my portfolio every single week. We max out the 401ks, all that. I have no issues buying this long term, but TQQQ is not a long-term play. It decays over time. So just be very careful buying this. And I'd be looking at this 538 level. If it continues to keep going, then we're just going to keep on buying and going higher. But it's at all-time highs right now. So technically, this is it right here. 538, 539, let's just say. Very difficult to say where would you buy this. I think you need to let it play out a little more. If you want to go look for entries, you could start to potentially buy in the middle of the channel, 525, 530, but I'm not going to lie to you. I think we need to just be patient with this. Let's see where it is. It's trading to the top of the channel, and you got to start using your indicators for this. Our RSI just on the 1 year for QQQ is at 61. It's not overbought yet, but it's definitely getting there. So it's getting close. So let's just keep an eye on it. And here's your TQQQ. I just want you to see that if you were to pull back, let's just say you had a pullback of even 10%. It's a monster pullback. I mean, you're back to $80, which is only a 3% pullback for QQQ. Let's see. Oh, he's loading up regardless. I like this. Just reading your comments. It'll split once they start a new store. Yeah, I mean, Costco with the apartments above it, that's a very interesting thing going on. Let's take a look at CrowdStrike. It's another awesome company right there. They have monster moves too. CrowdStrike was such a buy. This one gets me too. Sometimes like you see these pullbacks and I don't buy, and then you forget about the stock, and then boom, there it is right there. So look at this perfect break. And then it just retested these levels right here. It just found support. Buyers that were looking at this is amazing. Look at this, 455, going to the moon as well. The way that I trade these stocks, it has made a clear new high, all right? So it's made a clear new high, and you're looking to get into this stock. An easy way to trade this is looking at the 400 level. I don't know if you're trying to buy this long term or not, but if you're looking for the safer route, hopefully you have. Do you have shares of this? Do you have shares of this stock? Let me see here. Costco got me too. You bailed at $17. Yeah, and yeah, I agree with you. But the thing is, what I would do though is look at this though. Just take a look at this. I mean, if you really want to get back in, you have a clear area where you're going to have some kind of support, because once you have this resistance up at 390 to about 400, a pullback to about there would be 10-11%. That would be your safest entry to try to get in and go long on this bad boy. You can't short something like this. I'm not sure if you're trying to short this. You can't short this stock because there is no ceiling anymore. There's no resistance level where you can go short on this stock. If you want to go for it and buy puts, I wouldn't do that personally. You could be right, but how do you know what day the stock's going to go down? I'm looking for a pullback. We're at the 450. This is a very psychological support. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Let's see where we're consolidating here. So we can see here, we're starting to get problems around. Always think whole dollar, half dollar. You have that 450 range, 400, 500, just like with Tesla, like 350. You can see here, 455 to 450. We are starting to consolidate in this zone. So we're going to have to just watch this and see how it plays out. But if I'm buying a pullback on this, it's going to be a while. It's going to be, I'm setting my alerts on Fidelity, setting them on Yahoo Finance, go about your day. And when you get a pullback to 410, 412, you start setting your alerts to watch this stock, and let's see where it goes. It's something we're going to have to follow up. I'll definitely keep an alert on it, because when you're trading long-term trends like this, where you see this support level, this new high, resistance zone of 400 get broke through, buyers, bulls are going to want to get in this stock. They're waiting for the pullback. If they didn't get this move, they're going to be waiting for the pullback. And where are they going to realistically look where it feels safe? It's going to be at that previous resistance zone at 400. Let's see what we're looking at here. Yeah, that's how I look at it too, Joshua. Like I set up the alerts, and when they come, I start analyzing that level and just go with there. And I'm telling you, if you guys, I don't know if you short stocks or you go long, I do both. But if you are going to go long on a stock, it is much easier to make money, believe it or not, on a stock like this that moves up as the trend. You want to find stocks that are moving up. I'm just going to point out an obvious one, and then we'll go to this TSSI stock. I just want to go to where's the golden child of semiconductors. Just look at this. You have this bounce around 113. And look where it's trading. It's just trading in this channel right now. It's a lot easier to make money on stocks that are proven in the short term to make this nice trend going up. And this is just a learning point. Look at this level at 130. It was a true bastard, like resistance. I kept trading this stock, scalping it, and then I let it go after 130 because you could see clear there was support here at this 130, support here, and then resistance right here in this zone. And then it started consolidating right here. And then this is the infamous, it breaks through the 130, pulls back to 130 to retest the level. It actually holds. And why this is such a good entry point for those that you got in it is because you know your stop is below 130. So if it goes to 129, you cut your loss. You're risking almost like 1%, 0.5% on your trade for a move back to 140. That's an excellent ROI. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for these trends that are trending up, and then you're looking to the left and finding your support, and then you have to have your defined stop, which is the previous resistance level. That's how I look at it. Let's see what we got. NVIDIA earnings are coming up. Oh yeah, so NVIDIA earnings, I'm gonna try to live trade this. This is my first time doing a live trade, like a live video on YouTube. I'm still getting with the times here, as you can see. You know, they don't really exactly teach you all this stuff. So I was watching the YouTube videos on how to do this live stream. So I'm definitely going to do this more, try to do this at least once a weekend, which will be nice. But I want to try to see if we can at least get NVIDIA live recording, because I'm going to scalp that if we get a pullback. So we don't know what it's going to do. I think we still have 10 or 12 days left until NVIDIA earnings. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, if we're still trading above and I'm scalping this, where do you think I'm going to buy realistically? NVIDIA announces earnings at $140 a share, and we're talking after hours, 4:30 p.m. If it pulls back to this 130, which is a 6-7% pullback, I'm going to be one of the first buyers coming in here with a stop loss above 129, 128. And the reason is because you have this area right here holding it. Now, things can happen in the after hours, but I'm very quick with the hotkeys. So in and out, trying to get 1, 2, 3, 4 points, it's definitely doable. This is a stock that I will be watching when earnings comes. Let's see here. Thoughts on just slowing down and monitoring only 2 to 4 stocks and options. Well, that's a good idea. I mean, what I like to do is if you guys look at my trading history, I don't have Fidelity Active Trader Pro up, but if you look at my trading history, you will see that I mainly trade like big caps, or I trade like 5 to 6 stocks. So I mainly trade, right now I have NVIDIA, I traded SCHD, which is a dividend ETF. I traded Intel, which was that nice, last week was like a $5,000 or $6,000 gain. NVIDIA we made $3,000 on. And I try to just focus on how the stock moves, because then you're more inclined to learn these levels of where your support are, like with Intel. And that's how I try to trade. It makes it much easier than trying to trade every single stock that is moving. And Joshua says it right. I am a trader by heart. But look, if you join, you don't have to join, but if you check out the WAP, if you look at the WAP, what you'll start to see is you'll see that I have the YouTube portfolio that I display for everybody. I have a long-term portfolio for everybody to see. I also have the beginner's courses. I have the stock watch list. We break down all of this. We go through, long-term investments and what I'm holding. And they're mainly ETFs, index funds, but there are individual stocks that are building on there. You can also check me out on Twitter too if you're interested. Check me out over here as well. Now let's just go back to this as a YouTube channel. I'm just trying to go back to the Webull. Let's go over more stocks. So let's see here. What other stocks are we interested in here? AMD, I'm just going to give you my long-term perspective on this. I want to start adding this to the long-term portfolio, but I'm struggling. I'm waiting for the $100 level, and I've been waiting patiently since 227. I said, okay, this is just way too much. I can't buy this. I've been very patient. It's pulled back already 53%. I'm hoping we get a little further downside to about $100 to 90. That's when the YouTube portfolio will have a new stock added to it, because I'm thinking the end of 2025, all this news with AI, I hope we get this pullback. It's starting to show support. Unfortunately, I went to 106 and I didn't buy. That shows you how greedy I was. And I do think once we break this channel, we can start making a move back up, 20, 30, 40% gains. Let's see TSSI. Let me see here. So going here. Oh my God, look at this. Look at the stocks you're recommending here. 24 cents. I love this. Let's go 6 months from now. So Joshua, my man, wants to buy a stock. Are you day trading this or are you holding this? I am buy, hold, and just charting entry point. Then I will dollar cost average and wait for dips to add. Okay, that's fine. I like that. But you know what I like about this? You can start to see the trend actually. And what's cool is this is using Webull. You could just draw the trend channel. So I draw this out like this, and it starts creating the channel trend for you, which is kind of nice. So we can kind of see the entry and the midpoints of where it has been trading. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. So you can see it's been trading within here. So if you're going to be trading this, Joshua, what you want to look for is where is our next previous support and is it in the trend line? That's how I would trade this stock. So when you're looking at this, I want to be very careful and trade within this zone, because look right here, you can see it's starting to trade in the middle to upper half, which is fantastic. But if you start pulling up here around $16, $17, you better be very careful, because look at this right here. You have a wall waiting for you. And if you zoom in even more looking at it, it really was only from $17. There was no buyers up here. You look at a wick like this for newer traders, this green candle, look where it closed. It closed at 16.65, so just be very careful with that. If you're going to try to trade this, I would assume at the bottom of the channel, and I'd be trying to use this guy right here as our source of reason. Looking right here, pulling right in this range is where I'd be trying to buy. And it does kind of go with the trend a little bit. But you got to remember, 6 months ago, this was $3. So please be careful with this. I don't know much about this company. Let's see what you wrote by this. This company's huge data centers and back office systems. He's thinking $12 entry. And now I see where now I see where you're getting your $12 entry. Because look, I just drew this out. I wasn't even looking at your what you're writing, and this is where we're at, 12.6. So okay, that's fine. You want to do that, but where's your stop? Where's your stop loss going to be? That's where I want to know. You know, like you buy at $12.5, buy at $13, buy a few shares, no problem. Let's say things go south on you. You need to have a plan. That's why we want to keep the trading simplified. Where are you going to buy again? Are you going to buy at 11? Because it's hard to see. Like once this trend breaks, it's difficult to see where you'd want to actually make this buy. I'm going to just draw this real quick right here. Right there. Once this trend breaks, I'm telling you, selling pressure is going to come into this area around 12, 12.5. You might get a bounce. And if it does, it's going to continue going lower, because the bulls were looking at this nice trend and now it's broken and it starts pulling back. So definitely just keep an eye on that. Got to be careful. Oh, Microsoft. Yeah, so if you were in the WAP, you would see that I literally keep posting videos and chats about Microsoft. That is going to be another addition to the YouTube portfolio. Just looking at it right here, let's go under Microsoft. If you want a dollar cost average long term, I think this is an obvious entry. This is a no-brainer. I mean, it has been testing this level 407 and it has been showing to hold. Now, will it hold? I would keep some spare change. Let's say you were investing $1,000. I would put 10% in around this area, 10 to 20% with a plan to add, because as much as 407 is working out, you can see that green candles are starting to build, but all it takes is something, a catalyst in the news, And the real level that I want to buy, and this is why I haven't bought yet, I am waiting for this zone, which is around 380 to 390 is where I am going to load the boat on Microsoft and not even think twice about it. If it pulls back more, I'm going to continue to buy more. I like that level 385 to 390, but I don't mind starting a position around 407 or lower. That's where I would look. So I hope that helps, because when you see a stock like this, it is trying to break this level. It just won't break yet. So, and the thing that attracts me about Microsoft is if you look at the 1 month, this is a big cap stock, billions of dollars, pulls all the way back, 8%. That's an 8% pullback from 450. But if we get further downside, this is an excellent start to enter into this. The Lodum zone, but I think we would need something really wrong to go on politically or something. You would need something to happen, like to actually get this level. But to get like 350 to 340 is really the Lodum up zone, because you have the previous resistance levels here. This will act as support if it pulls back here. But I think that's realistic? No. I think that you just have to keep alerts for it. But I don't mind buying around 400, 390, and if it pulls back to about 350, that's a 15% pullback. That's kind of really big for a big cap like this. It can happen. I mean, you had a move like this from 338 down to 212. So that's where I'm looking at. My loading zone's 400, start adding in 10, 20% of your position, then looking here around 390, throwing another 20, 25%. And if you get here, I'm loading up. Paychecks are going into that. Oh, CELH. Yeah, that's this is a stock I'm dying on the YouTube portfolio. So I bought this stock. I have an average cost basis of $30, but the way that I have been doing it is I have been just decreasing it down to about like a 3% allocation. So here I am right here, and I am losing my ass on this. Look at this. This is bad. Let's just look at this 1 month on this. CELH needs something to break out of this. I mean, it is in a downtrend, and it is not a buy at all. I mean, look at this stock. I have it at $30. Don't be like me. Don't bag hold this stock. This is why I like YouTube. You can see where I'm messing up as well. But look at the downtrend. Look where we're at. Boom, boom, boom. Resistance everywhere. Let's just see where it goes. Let it sell off. The stock wants to keep selling off. This is not looking good. And when you look at the 5-year chart, the only real support is around $16. So this might be one of the worst trades in the YouTube portfolio right now. It is a long-term hold, so I'm going to start adding. But I'm not going to add until we get to about $17 to $15. That's how I'm looking at it. So you do have that green candle coming in. If you want to look at some technical indicators, you can see the RSI on the 1-year chart is trading at 38. You can see it right around here, 38. So definitely something to consider. On the 5-year, it's at 32. But fundamentally, the stock has to improve. There's no other way around it. So that's how I'm looking at it. It has to break at least above $23. Realistically, in my eyes, $25 is really where I'd want to see it break. And the reason that I have this level in mind is because you can see right here were clear areas where you're starting to have some support and resistance that were broken. You had the retest here, support here, you had the support here. And then now, to really reclaim and go long, let's say $25, $26 a share. And now that this stock is only worth $22, or it's a little lower, $22, it's got to pull up 15, 16%. It has earnings soon, I believe. If you're going to go long on it, I know you don't want to buy high, but you want to know that it's proven to do this. It's obviously not going to look like a straight line like this, but you want to see Celsius stock do this. This is what I'd be looking for. You want the break through that move. You had the support, now it's resistance right here. You can see it failed. It's got to break above and go. If you're going to continue going long on this, I might put a few more dollars in, around $16, but fundamentally I'm not liking what I'm hearing about the stock with the insider trading news. Those are like all death sentences for a stock just to keep on slowly decaying over time. We'll keep holding it though. We'll hold it for the chat. You guys need to see the losses as well. But yeah, Pepsi definitely did order too much inventory. All right, last stock, guys, and I'm going to go. We're going to look at Chipotle. Let's see here. Chipotle stock. Looks like I have previous levels drawn out on this. And let's draw this out too. If you just look at this over the long term, let's take a quick look. I just want to see where this lines up if we just draw long-term charts here. Nah, it's not that good. And you have 3 touches, which is okay, but nothing else is touching. And if this was to really pull back, this would still be a monster pullback, 21% to $40, $45. We have to see, is this level going to hold right here, $56 to $55? I'm not really comfortable buying there. I think your next zone, if you're going to buy long term, would be to be buying right here around the $50. Like it's like the whole dollar, half dollar. You buy at the $50 and start averaging in around $50 to $48. That's where I would look. But this chart looks pretty broken right now. I mean, this could be a higher low. Like when you compare this rectangle right here to this one. But it's too early to tell. And why is it too early to tell? Because you have this consolidation in this area. We don't know. Is this just forming what is a bear flag on the long-term trend? Let me just show you. I buy dips a lot. And when you have a sell-off like this, sometimes what happens is you will get this. And this is the real problem. And then you're going to get selling into where we were saying. Let me just draw this out again. Right to here is your bear flag. And this signifies more downside. Is Chipotle, sells off, hits this, and then starts selling down all the way to about $50 per share, which is another 10%. That's where I'm going to wait if I'm going to buy Chipotle and see if we get that pullback. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into the live stream. Definitely check me out on YouTube. Check out the playlist. You got the Trading P&L 2025, my members only. Thank you guys for supporting the crypto trading on Gemini, Mastering Fidelity. I got Vanguard Investments, my Trading P&L 2024. There's a lot for you guys. I definitely appreciate you just tuning in. I'm going to start doing this more on the weekends. If you like it, please just give me a thumbs up. Write a comment. I appreciate it. It's good to get feedback from you guys. And I always mention the WAP. Nobody knows what that is. It seems like on YouTube, I've noticed I get a lot of comments on that. Click on this link right here on the WAP. It's also in the description below. You can just check it out there. Click on it. Check it out. If you're interested, that's great. If you're not, no problem. I appreciate you tuning into the live stream. I'll see you guys, okay? Now I got to figure out how to end this live stream because it's the first time doing it.